My name's Ninsiima Rukandema. I work in the portfolio team and I'm an undergraduate studying at Durham University.
I'm Annabel Edet. I work in the Technology Operations Department and I'm in my second year at the University of Glasgow.
Hi, my name is Sharon Anatol. I've just graduated from the University of Nottingham studying philosophy, and I work in the digital marketing department here at Wesleyan.
Hello, my name is Mochele Kgabuki, and I've just finished my undergrad from the University of Manchester doing economics and finance, and I'm interning under project management, and we're currently doing cyber resilience tasks.
It's been really insightful to see the different parts of the business and how wide and broad financial services are.
Yeah, I think it's been very informative. Obviously coming in here, I didn't think that there were as many roles that go into such a business like this, and obviously coming in and just speaking to different employees, finding out the overview of their roles and what they do at the company, it's just been great. I've learned a lot.
I've liked the fact that it's not what I imagined a 9-to-5 to be. At least in my department especially, it's been really relaxed. As long as the work is done to a good enough standard, and obviously within working hours, it's just completely just free range in terms of what I can and can't do. And I don't feel like I've been made to feel inferior because I'm an intern or because I'm a lot younger than the people that I'm working with. I feel like a very understood and appreciated member of the team, and I thought that is something that I really value, and I hope to see my working experience be similar to my experience here at Wesleyan.
I've really enjoyed working under project management, mostly because of how dynamic it is. Because coming here, I thought project management was going to be like in the supply side chain or in the procurement side, or project management from the construction side and stuff like that. I mean, like the management part of it. But it has been like totally different, and I've learned a lot from that area.
I think it's very good to show that you're actually interested in hearing a young voice, whether it's any young voice, but especially voices that don't have that much representation within different industries. So getting that perspective in order to grow your company and change it in order to give more representation to people is very integral.
It pushes for diversity and inclusion, and also I think a lot of the time, a lot of the people that get onto these, that are fortunate enough to get these internships, they wouldn't have been able to, or either afford it, or they wouldn't have been in the right circumstances to be able to have access to these internships. So they're honestly really great. You know, it drives for inclusion, it brings different people into a company, and I think that just helps for the better.
I think it's about time as well that the workplace started to match how diverse Britain actually is and how diverse Britain is actually becoming.
That's so true.
Because I feel like, especially internships are unpaid and are very based on nepotism. So the kind of people interning at, very lucrative and very corporate businesses is obviously going to be white middle class people because they can afford to work 10 weeks for free just for the sake of experience. And so obviously that kind of stops the diversification of interns and businesses in general, because a lot of underrepresented groups and people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds can't intern because they just can't afford to support themselves without being paid. And so I'm really happy that this initiative takes on interns and actually pays them, because it's actually ridiculous how many unpaid interns there are. And obviously there's a special focus on them being black as well, which is great, because I feel like it's not that we don't have the skill sets to be in these places, it's just that we don't have the opportunity. So now that we've been given the opportunity, I think as much as we appreciate being here, I hope Wesleyan appreciates our talent and what we bring to the table as well, because there are many businesses where we wouldn't have been able to do that without giving up so much of our labour and our time completely for free.
Also, the 10,000 Black Interns initiative particularly ensures that the candidates that are recruited by these companies, they are well trained, because there were training courses, there were mentoring and programs like that. So it ensures that we are skilled and perfect for those.
And even before that, we went through an application process. So prior to it, we had a certain level of skill set and qualities. So
because like when dealing with such programs, you wouldn't want to like infringe on meritocracy. You wouldn't want to like only hire people just because of the color of their skins.
Yeah.
But you want them to be skilled on those areas, have the attitude of a person who will be able to produce value in a company. So the 10,000 Black initiatives ensures that we are trained in that aspect.
And I think it also really helps people's confidence, because I feel like there's a lot of, in general life, applying to internships, for people who aren't as represented in certain industries, it's quite scary to apply for and daunting to apply for an internship. But through this initiative, it was very nice because it made it kind of like a safety blanket. And it made people more willing to actually try and use their skill sets that they have to actually try and like grow themselves and grow their careers.
No, I completely agree. Like, I like the fact that it wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't like just because you've applied, you're gonna get it just by sheer virtue of being a university student and you are also like BAME or Black. We already have quite developed skill sets, and obviously like even applying to Wesleyan, like I'm sure not everyone that got interviewed, like I haven't seen half the people that I did my interview with here, which means that as well as fitting the criteria of, you know, what the 10,000 Black internships initiative was looking for, I also was just an ideal candidate, and so is everyone else here, irrespective of our race or our socioeconomic background. Like, we happen to be in that like kind of like diversity box, but we also happen to be very hardworking, competent, good employees, and that's how we've managed to make it that far.
And it also like for your identity, like on a personal level, it shows you that you're way more than just like a box to tick. You're actually, you do have skills
than a quota.
And also from the like perspective of the company, I think it's a good thing to do to like put yourself out there, because for me, when I applied and I got put with Wesleyan, I had no idea what it was, and like even searching it up, I didn't really like get that much information. So I think like getting involved with certain initiatives like this, to even though they're towards like diversity, it shows that you're trying to grow diversity within your company, but then at the same time it gets your name out there in spaces where it wasn't.
I think the company has benefited from this, mainly because of our contribution, because we were in the meeting just a couple of minutes back and we've been telling them our experiences and where they could improve and stuff like that. And also like from the areas that we've been engaged in, definitely we've sparked the conversations around this issue. So I think that benefited in that regard.
Yeah, I think commerce technology, like, it's forever changing. So, you know, young ideas, young minds, young talents, it's always gonna, you know, better your company, I feel. So.
And it's quite interesting because coming in, it's very clear that it's a huge business. Like, there's so many different sectors. So it's quite hard to get feedback from each sector that is very candid and realistic. So having interns in each sector or different sectors, it gets very candid feedback on what's actually happening in that sector, and the fact that they're new as well shows exactly what that sector within the business is lacking or doing well in. So I think that's very helpful.
Even like perspective aside, I think that they've gained a lot of like pragmatic help from having young people, because I feel like we can just help with like kind of like contemporary ways and kind of like branding, at least in my kind of like department, like marketing a business. Like, we were in the talks with Rich of making like a TikTok account, and obviously no offense to anyone older than 25, but it might be hard to kind of like understand the nuance and the kind of like ways in which you can utilize platforms like TikTok to expand your outreach to people like us if you're in a completely different age bracket. So having someone like me who would be making content for other people who are in the same age and, you know, other like kind of like background or identity kind of like criteria as me as well, means that the business gets more outreach, leading to more leads, and, you know, like, it just helps the business just having someone with a fresh pair of eyes to kind of like think about other ways to get the business to appeal to people in our age range, which is nice.
Personally, like I didn't have any other company. Not that I hate Wesleyan. Respectfully, being honest. So there was nothing else like compared to, and it seemed like a great company. Also, like after seeing the company that I was allocated to, that I had to do the interview with, and after they called me and stuff like that, I researched them, and it seemed like a good company. So I chose to come here.
Upon research, like I just saw that it was the company seemed quite niche in the sense that like it only tailors to like private dentists, doctors, and teachers. I thought that was quite interesting, so I figured I'd do that. So that was why I chose it.
Again, like I didn't really have any other options, but I don't regret my position in it, and it's really opened my mind to like how different companies work, and even going back home and talking about like, or trying to describe how it is, people were like, oh, that's not really how my first job was, or stuff like that. So it's quite interesting to see that it's actually quite unique in its ethos of comfortability, and just you can be yourself and try and put your voice in different conversations within the business.
I think I was allocated to 2 businesses, so it was Wesleyan and ING Media, which was like an architectural design firm, but both for marketing. And then I got an offer from both, and I chose Wesleyan just because it was just the complete antithesis of who I am as a human being. Finance, anything in that kind of like sector was just something that I never thought that I would ever work into. But I thought, well, the opportunity has presented itself to me. Why not just see what it's like? I could do the easy option and just choose something that I probably feel like I would be quite good at, and I kind of already have an idea of what I'd be doing in that sector. Or I could do something that would be completely like, you know, different to anything I could have ever imagined a 9-to-5 to be, and something that I would have never had willingly chosen to do. And now I know that the financial industry isn't as bad and as boring as I thought it was, and I've actually quite enjoyed it. I'm quite happy with the choice that I've made being here, because it's really opened my eyes to what I thought beforehand was just an industry I didn't really want to be a part of. But yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, really.
That is very bold of you.
Yeah, challenging yourself. Yeah, that could have gone.
Honestly, it could have gone so horribly wrong, but it's fine, because I feel like even being here, everyone else is kind of like on the same page. Like Rich and I talk a lot about how neither of us really know that much about the like nuances and the layers and everything about finance. Like we're not risk analysts, we're not investment bankers, but here we are still working in a financial service, and it's just really interesting. Like as you were saying, like there are so many different like departments here that you can all be a part of, and I just think that it's not just the obvious like money, finance, risk analysis.
Yeah, I think it's also so like interesting how most of the people that work at the firm as well didn't come from like financial like commerce backgrounds. Like I met so many people that did everything under the sun apart from like, you know, business and finance, accounting, all of that stuff. So that was quite, you know, interesting as well.
I actually met someone who did physics.
Yeah, my manager did fine art, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like if the business gets their name out there more and showcases how broad the roles are within it, you'll get so much more talent that's like interested in actually coming to do marketing here, or coming, because everyone just sees it as a financial business, so they don't do finance, or if they just to detach it from its financial stereotype.
But even you saying that your manager did fine art, like I find really interesting, because I don't know if you guys have seen, like, it's all of the really, like, stupid newspapers that are having this kind of argument or debate about Mickey Mouse degrees, and, like, they're basically trying to rank and hierarchize different kinds of degrees based on their usefulness. So obviously you've got, like, the STEM, the finance, the more practical, pragmatic, vocational degrees at the top, and then you've got things like art, the humanities, English and stuff like that at the bottom. But I think this goes to show that when it comes to employability and working a job, it does not matter what degree you do. Do what you like, do the best in it, and then you can literally work anywhere. Like, obviously, like, when you're 18, 19, 20, you probably can't see the correlation between fine art and then, you know, working in a financial service, but it's just about what kind of skills you learn in your degree and stuff like that. And I think working at Wesleyan has really showed me that. Like, I do philosophy, and it's really hard to see a connection between philosophy and the financial industry, but I think it's the kind of skills the transitional skills have equipped me to be able to work efficiently here. Because I do a lot of writing as well, and I think doing philosophy has helped me to make a lot of like organic content and stuff like that. But obviously, you wouldn't make the connection off the bat.
I think it's helped me be a lot more punctual than I usually am, because having to work a 9 to 5, wake up at a certain time, get the exact same train every single day and get here before 9, and just that whole routine as well is something that I've never really had to do, and having to do that for like a set period of time has been, I think it's been helpful. So
I think it's made me more open-minded to not see certain industries as very black and white, but actually is very layered, and like there's loads of different pieces that make up a business, and you can always find your space or your role within stuff. You just have to make it or find it. So like when I say, and it makes me less scared when I say I don't know what I want to do, because coming here and just finding out about all the different roles, I would have never known that if I didn't experience it. So it's actually okay to not know what you want to do, because there's so much that's just hidden behind like the doors of businesses.
exactly.
I think working at Wesleyan has made me like really efficient, because unlike Annie, I don't think even like a 9 to 5 structure has helped me wake up at 9 on time. Like I think there's been many a times in my internship where I've not waken up at 9 o'clock. But it's fine, because I always, and I hope at least Rich can vouch for me, that I always get the work done. And it's just made me be a lot more kind of like comprehensive about my work, and a lot more efficient and a lot more prompt in how I do it, to make up for the fact that like I'm just the 9 to 5 waking up at 9 has just not hit me yet. Like I'm just not good at it, but that's fine, because that doesn't come at any detriment to the quality of work that I produce and the quantity of work that I'm capable of doing. Because as I said before, I think the company has a really lax kind of like structure. As long as the work is done and it's done well, that's fine. And I've also really liked like the home and office kind of like hybrid working, because I think that's really helped me to kind of like be more independent, so I can kind of just do things how I like and when I feel like, obviously, with restrictions, but for the most part I can come in with a day's notice, or I can decide that I want to stay at home, and it's just given me a lot more independence and a lot more kind of like affirmation with my decisions and what I choose to do and how I choose to use my time. But yeah.
One thing that I've benefited from is learning how to work in group structures, because you realize how interdependent different departments are, and certain individuals, how interdependent they are to each other. Because sometimes you'll need data from like one department or information or insight from someone. So I've learned to like work in a group setting in that way.
And like again, coming off what you were saying, the like work-life balance and how to like make sure you're getting both. I think working at Wesleyan was very helpful to like learn that is actually a very big thing that you need to do, and to make sure you're not just spending your whole life just like buried in work, but then at the same time to actually like be productive day to day. So I think the hybrid working makes it like it's in your hands to actually balance it, and I think that gives you a type of independence and responsibility that's quite good to learn.